SmartTurn is a software service or on-demand inventory and warehouse management system. We built SmartTurn because we looked at the marketplace for the inventory and the warehouse management area, and there are hundreds of thousands of companies in the mid-market space and the small space that are just largely ignored by the software community. There are some solutions for these folks that are smaller package solutions, but they bear all the cost and burden of traditional software, of upgrades and installation and infrastructure. And we all know that SAS is a revolution that is coming and is building stronger and stronger, but it really hasn't been brought to the supply chain yet. So SAS in the supply chain is a spectacular opportunity. Some folks have tried it in the transportation management space, and there has been some success there. But SmartTurn is the first SaaS offering for warehouse management. And we're certainly the leader in that space, a spectacular offering for small to medium-sized businesses, and we think it's really going to revolutionize the way that supply chain is managed and handled in the small to medium enterprise space. When you look at the small to medium warehouse and inventory space, our target market, you see a lot of customers that are still running their business on paper, on QuickBooks, on Excel, and they miss the automation and the checks that are required to have a really quality process for inbound receiving, for making the perfect order on the outbound side to really retain high levels of customer satisfaction, and they lose a lot of efficiency inside the warehouse. Things like physical inventories that they have to do much more often cost them overtime. They have higher carrying costs in inventory. They end up with lower customer satisfaction rates because they just don't know what they have available to promise. And often, when they're receiving goods, they really don't know what they're supposed to be bringing in. Is this the right thing that we're receiving now? Is this the right quantity? How do you match that up against what your expectation was that you were supposed to receive? Now, if you take many of these small folks, they're dealing with larger players in the supply chain. That's another place where paper, QuickBooks, and most other package systems are really going to let a small to medium company down. Usually the large player in the supply chain is going to force these folks to use an EDI system, or maybe they'll force an in-house developed system for the big player down on the small guy. Really doesn't do anything to help the small business owner's business. It just helps the big business operator. So what SmartTurn has is an opportunity for the small business owner to run their business more efficiently, increase their customer satisfaction, but at the same time play in the right level of data communication and exposure to the outside world that the bigger supply chain players really demand. Many small players want to grow to become bigger players, and to do that, they have to move up in their IT systems. Many small players have a requirement to work with larger players in the supply chain. Could be upstream from them, could be downstream from them. But if they want to play in that larger global supply chain and play with these larger players out there, they have to expand and adopt more advanced IT practices. And that's really what SmartTurn can bring to them. A major challenge that a lot of small and medium businesses face is the problem of how to get real-time data and real-time information about their inventory and what's going on in their warehouse. For instance, many customers of ours will have a website where they'll want to provide real-time information about the availability of inventory. Potentially, the customer will want also to provide real-time information about the status of an order. That's a difficult thing to do with a lot of the package systems or QuickBooks or something like an Excel spreadsheet. SmartTurn lets you provide real-time information to your sales team, to your management, to another system, potentially even a website if you want to take that information and expose it to the outside world. Plus, SmartTurn will also let you grant access to the right people with the right level of security, so that if you want to show your vendors, show your customers what the inventory levels are, what the inventory statuses are, what order statuses are, you can be sure that you can grant them access to the system. It's easy for them to understand, but you can segregate their privilege and their access from other people so they only see what you intend them to see. So SmartTurn has just secured its Series A funding. And that would imply that we're a much younger and earlier stage company than we are. We've actually been around for about 3 years now. The backers that we have are two of the best backers that we could possibly hope for in the world. Our two VCs are NEA, New Enterprise Associates, and Emergence Capital. NEA is one of the best brand names on Sand Hill, one of the top names in funding emerging technology companies. And Emergence Capital is a specialist fund in backing SaaS or the on-demand model. They know more about SaaS than I think anybody else does in the industry. We couldn't have two better companies behind us than these two partners. Larger enterprise software packages for supply chain have traditionally been targeted at the very largest of the supply chain companies out there. They're for your Walmarts and your Grangers and your GMs. But what does the small guy do? What does even the medium-sized guy do? That's what's so exciting about the SAS Revolution and about what SmartTurn can offer to the small, medium player in the supply chain. We have the opportunity to build an enterprise-class system and deliver it to the small, medium player at a cost that they can afford. Also, at a risk that they can tolerate. It's nothing up front. It's a very palatable risk. It's a very palatable cost. Very, very different than the traditional supply chain model. And that's one of the things that's most exciting about the SaaS world and about applying SaaS to the supply chain. You look at the world of inventory management, warehouse management, and it's a meat and potatoes type of down-home America play. When you think about what really goes on inside of a warehouse, there's a lot of the regular daily moving pallets, moving boxes, packing items to be shipped to customers. But all that is to ultimately deliver a product to a customer and to satisfy a buyer someplace. That consumer could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody that we know. And what the people in the warehouse and the people running that business really want to do is they want to spend more time working on the cycles and the tasks that are really going to help satisfy that customer. Having to go out in a too frequent basis and count what you have in a warehouse. Having to run around and try and figure out where that lost item is. Those are sorts of things and cycles that you just don't want to spend time on in your operation. By delivering a real strong inventory and warehouse management system to folks that really couldn't afford it before, now we've helped them change the way that their business runs. Now they can eliminate a lot of those wasted cycles that they spent on tedious tasks before that they really didn't have to spend. And now they can spend that time and spend those cycles on developing more business, keeping their customers happier, and really growing their business instead of the mundane tasks of tracking down that lost box. One of the perfect fits for SmartTurn is a 3PL. If you think about what a third-party logistics operation does, they operate a facility on behalf of someone else. So if you or I want to store goods in a warehouse someplace, but we don't have the facility, we'll contract with the 3PL. That means that the 3PL has a customer that they have to satisfy on a continuous basis. Customer service is very important to a 3PL. That means that they need a world-class system to keep that customer happy. They have to share information with that customer on a regular basis. They have to keep the customer updated on what the inventory status is, what the receiving status is, what the shipping status is of all that customer's goods. SmartTurn gives them more power in many cases than some of the large enterprise systems to do this. We focus on all the core functions that they need and deliver all the functionality they need to make that business run and move all those items around. But we also give them a much better way to share that information with their customers. That's a real strong benefit of the SaaS model that SmartTurn offers. They can offer logins to those customers that allow them to see everything that they need to see but nothing more. So if a 3PL has many customers under the same roof, they can segment the security privileges by customer and allow customer A to see their goods and allow customer B to see their goods, but make sure that those two customers can't cross over in what they're allowed to access and do. In other cases, if some customers need the ability to create a request for a shipment or create a request for a receipt, then they can allow them those privileges while allowing other customers only the opportunity just to view things.